Road Break family, welcome to another episode of our show. And we're going to be talking about everything that is happening in this week. So, welcome all of the professional wrestling has for us. Vince McMahon, Jean Paul officially back in the WWE, the nightmare of a lot of people. We were all like, oh, he's finally gone. Fuck, fuck Vince, all of that. No, he's actually back, but he has a specific mission. So, we're going to be actually discussing all of that. We're going to be talking about this specific reason why Vince McMahon is back in the WWE, and he is trying to sell the company. So we're gonna be actually talking all about all of that, Paul. And let me know your thoughts. How do you feel? Oh, Vince is back.
We should almost give him Eric Bischoff's theme. He's back. Yeah, but I mean, this is. I mean, we heard the rumblings a little bit ago, and people were kind of like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" Because they're just worried about the creative. They just worried about what they see on TV, because we can't, that's what we consume, what we see on TV. We can't control anything, who owns the company, this and that. And it's not just about selling the company, the media, the television rights for both Fox and for USA Network, for Raw and SmackDown are both coming up.
Yes.
And Vince is 80% of the shareholder for the rights, so he has 80% of the say for who they sell to. So I mean, it almost makes sense he was in there, and I'm surprised it really took as long as it did if you think about it, because all he had to do was just say, hey, I'm going to be in here, you two assholes or three whatever have to resign
of the board of the member. Yeah,
and then two other people resigned, so I think 4 or 5 in total resigned. Vince and 2 other people that he fired previously in like 2019, he brought them back. So it's a whole mess of stuff. But I mean, at the end of the day, he's there to make sure the company sells to the right person. Maybe it's going to sell to somebody who, is going to say, hey, Vince, come back and be in charge because this is your company, even though I bought it from you. Or maybe he's just going to try to sell it to somebody for the highest bidder. Or he just wants to be there because it is his company. It was his father's company. It's his. He rebranded it. He made it a publicly traded company and all that. So there's a lot to it. It's almost like a child in a certain sense, where it's something that he created. So there's a lot of things going into it. People maybe want to be malicious, and maybe they have the right to be, and maybe they should be, but we really got to see how this plays out. Like, I heard some people say Saudi Arabia might buy it. Some people say
absolutely. I heard that too.
Some people say NBC. Again, some people say maybe Vince is going to sell it to somebody that's just going to say, hey, Vince, now you come back. And then it's a way to get Triple H and Nick Khan out of there because maybe Vince doesn't like them no more. Who knows? That's, the rumors and everything's running wild. We just got to wait and let this play out. The one thing at least we do know for certain is that Triple H is going to keep being in charge for creative, which is good. Hopefully these storylines play out. One thing we can talk about now that's kind of cool, which you probably wouldn't see under Vince, then we can go back to Vince and just want to mention it because it popped in my head, is that Money in the Bank is going to be in the UK from the big success they had Clash at the Castle. So we'll talk about Money in the Bank a little more when we talk about SmackDown and everything. Yes. But I mean, that's something I don't think would have happened under Vince McMahon. It's happening under Triple H. So, we want to keep seeing that stuff continue. And maybe Vince will continue actually doing that because he saw the big money that came in from Clash at the Castle. He saw that the paycheck, with the money and everything.
Like you said, absolutely. It makes all the sense in the world. And, welcome to every single one that is watching. Please subscribe, share, give us a comment how you guys feel about this situation with Vince McMahon. Like Paul says, let's read it like what we know about. Vince McMahon, like you said, he's came back. He has hired JP Morgan to help the company advise on a potential sale. If the deals occurs, it will likely occur in the next 3 to 6 months. So supposedly there's already conversations and there's a potential buyer. And like you mentioned the TV rights also, so that will be interesting because there's been a lot of rumors, Paul, that at some point a Netflix wants to be part of the this thing of having live sports. So because all pretty much every single streaming service has something. Like Prime Video has right now the NFL on Thursday, so Peacock has the Premier League, had the World Cup. So like every single one of these streaming services, they need some kind of live sports because that's what get people to tune in.
Yeah, and I mean Hulu has them, but they're like late. You know what I mean? And then Peacock has them. But yeah, like you said, nobody really has that. And then, who knows that deal for Peacock? That's already been a couple years. I mean, that might, I don't know how long that was, but maybe that's coming up soon. I hope the one thing I wish, I mean, there's many things you wish for the WWE, but man, the WWE Network, I wish that could come back. That was such a great app. It was smooth. It was easy. You could watch stuff.
It was friendly for the users.
Sometimes during a pay-per-view, it might shit out here and there. Maybe wasn't the best unless you're watching like on a computer or something with a really good connection. But I mean, it is a lot better than Peacock.
But it was so much better, like you mentioned, Paul. Remember, like no commercials, no interruptions. Remember, like that was like, or commercials from WWE. That was even better. But like that's what we know. Vince McMahon is back, like everybody said, and the intention of him was actually to regain creative control. The intention was to just be the good old Vince. Like you said, he has like 80% of the shareholders. He has a lot of power still. He never gave up that. The only reason we know this is like because of the scandal, the investigations, all of that. They forced him. He was forced to resign. It's not that he said out of himself, "Oh, I want to." So that's the thing.
Yeah, and speaking of forced,
yeah, go ahead.
And speaking of forced to resign, like I had mentioned earlier, they had to create room for him and the two board members he brought with him. So those people were asked to resign, and obviously they did. They were asked, but they really had no choice. And the two other board members resigned, and one of them was the guy who led the charge, in the investigation against Vince McMahon last year with the whole sexual scandal. So what does that tell you? He voluntarily stepped down. So he's thinking, man, I led this investigation. We found all this shit out. And it meant nothing because here he's right back. So he stepped out. So, I mean, it almost meant nothing in a sense. I mean, obviously it had its effects and ramifications, but, that guy who was leading that charge, he's not even here no more. So, it's one of those things that the only thing it really did was get rid of John Laurinaitis, and Triple H is in creative control.
And how do you feel about Paul? Like John Laurinaitis was supposed to have an appearance at a show, like an independent show. As soon as like the poster was released, no backlash from fans.
I love it.
Everybody was shitting on it. Done. So they had to completely cancel the whole show, the whole thing. They had to just cancel it. So there you go.
The best thing he could have did for his career is after he was done wrestling in Japan, and he was helping out be a Finnish guy in like WCW and this and that for a little bit. He should have just, and before he came to WWE, he should have just called it a career. And then he could have went around signing stuff. Hey, I was in Japan. I had the ace cutter. I was legit. He completely destroyed his legacy because he couldn't keep his little Johnny Ace in his pants. And there you go. That pretty much says it all.
That was the big problem. That was the biggest thing that he had for John Laurinaitis. But focusing on McMahon, Paul, talking a little more about this, we say that like the potential buyers right here is like said like it's going to be Comcast, one of them. They say it's going to be NBC, also like Netflix, Amazon, like also like a UFC like group holding that it will be. If the UFC buy the WWE, I feel that like they will try to change it up a little more, make it more like risque, making more wrestling feel like. So that will be potentially good. Warner Brothers. Imagine if the Warner Brothers actually will buy WWE right toe-to-toe with AEW. That tells you a lot. Discovery, TNT, TBS, all of those companies.
But I think that's the thing here. That's why, you have somebody like Vince come back. Vince might be like, no, I'm not going to be owned by somebody who, like Warner Brothers. Even if they're interested, he might be like, well, they own AEW. No. That might be like, I'm not going to be owned by them. So maybe that's why he came back for decisions like that. But like you did mention a lot of people, but like, NBC, they're like a big rumor one. And then there's, like the dark horses. People say, well, Saudi Arabia, look at all that insane money they paid for these shows. That prince has more money than we probably even know he has. Could even dream of. And, he could just buy it. I mean, obviously that would be insane. But you never know. It's Vince is the one who can decide. You never know what he's going to do. It's crazy. But, are we going to be seeing theme parks like Disneyland? Are they going to own it?
WWE
and like they said, there's going to be big mascots with the foam heads, but it'll be like Undertaker and Kane and Steve Austin, and they'll be walking around the park like, so do you want a Stone Cold soda?
The Stone Cold Stunner, like
it'll be like the theme park for WWE. I mean, hey, the future is crazy. You got to take it day by day. But this is a story I think a lot of people are focusing on. And one thing that's funny is, January 6th was that the insurrection on the Capitol and everything, with, not to get political, but when the Republicans stormed that, Trump said, oh, what's wrong, this and that, I should be the president, and they said we agree, and they stormed. And that big insurrection, it's funny because that is the same day, January 6th, I believe, was the day that Vince came back. So that was Vince, that was Vince's insurrection. He came back and was like, no, I'm taking over. But he at least was rightfully so. It's his company. He has 80%, the stocks and the voting right and everything.
Absolutely. So. And this is the thing, like you mentioned before, is like the importance of Vince McMahon in sharing the company is that he knows like what potentially could be good for the company, since it's his kid. He created it, so he probably wants to make sure that like the company is going to continue, and maybe he wants to be part of that direction of where the company is going to go. Whether we like it or not, the man is still sane in a lot of these kind of decisions. And like I said, is it Saudi Arabia? That would be probably the worst decision. That would be the fear that everybody has, that it could potentially happen. But we think. I mean, Disney, like I said, will be something interesting for me. Maybe Comcast will give him like more. Over like they will have more money just to like produce the content.
I want it to be sold to, if anybody, just sold to somebody that is just not like a person, not sold to like Joe Bob, a company that is just like, hey, you have your guy in charge, you have all your people, you bring them from your to here, keep doing what you're doing. As long as you're making us money and giving us good numbers, we don't care. I don't want somebody to buy it and be hands-on and be, I'm going to change this and change that, and we're going to switch this around, and hey, bring Undertaker back again because I remember him from when I was a kid. No, don't be fucking bullshit.
Bring Yokozuna, although he's been dead for years, right?
Exactly, like the Saudi prince. No, none of that. Just you gotta, if it changes hands and it sells and it moves to a new TV network, a new night, this and that, I mean, Jesus, I think Raw has to stay Monday night, so the world will probably, spin backwards. But Monday Night Raw is not on Monday night. But I mean, it's one of those things we just gotta. I've been saying it this whole video. We gotta wait and see how this plays out. It's really interesting, and again, a crazy story to start off the year.
Exactly, like you said, like Vince McMahon just like returned in this kind of fashion. But like you said, for the people that are actually like, oh my God, this is gonna go back to what it was. Now the question for you is like, if I tell you like with all the honesty in the world, Paul, has it gotten better? Or like, is it completely different to what we've seen from the last of Vince to now Triple H? What would you say? Oh my gosh, it's like a night and day. Or there's like, little things are better. Product is more watchable.
Yeah, it's definitely not like mixing oil and water. Or it's not like somebody poured soda in my chocolate milk. It's not like, oh, this tastes awful and there's two completely different things. No, they both mesh together. But again, you have the wrestlers coming out here and they're saying wrestlers. They're not super over the top. The promos feel better. I would agree the Bloodline has been doing their best work since Triple H took over. Yes. And that I would say Triple H probably says, guys, you guys are the best thing we have. Just go out there and do what you do. You don't probably tell them, this is the storyline. This is the match we're setting up. But other than that, go out there, cut a promo. He lets them do their thing. And, to me, the biggest flop since Triple H has took over would almost have to be the Bray Wyatt thing. It feels that feels really like Vince McMahon. It feels like it's going nowhere fast.
Yes.
It's creepy when it shouldn't be creepy. It should just be more realistic somehow. But we'll talk about Uncle Howdy then. But no, I think it is better with Triple H. Again, like I said earlier, with Money in the Bank, I don't think that would be taking place in the UK if it wasn't for Triple H. Vince goes, we'll go there once every 25 years. We'll go to the UK. That's his motto or something. Like
it was just like barely ever. So Triple H is like understanding that.
So I would say
there's more passion in the UK.
I would say if you are a WWE like that's your thing. You love WWE wrestling. That's all the wrestling you watch, and you want it to keep getting better. Yeah, I could see those people maybe getting a little scared because it has gotten better, and you think, oh my God, I don't want it to go back. And maybe because Vince has been gone so long, if he comes back and he does get control, it's not going to just go back to what it was. It might get even worse.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because you don't know, and he's going to get older, and not to be mean, but maybe he gets a little more senile. He gets a little more, not to say like, oh, you're out of touch, like the wrestling fans say, but, you know, just out of touch because he's an old man. He maybe don't understand things, and the wrestling he might present, and again, you can't tell him no. So, I mean, it's one of those things where
it is complicated, like you said, like, but I feel that like a lot of people like just need to see it from a business standpoint. The only reason he's back because he's the man that like created all this.
That's what I think it is. At the end of the day, it's the business aspect of it. The creative thing, he might say, "Hey, Triple H, you should do this. You know, I would do it this way. I wouldn't do it exactly the way you're doing it." But no, I think at the end of the day, he's not there for that. You know, he's there for the sale and the media rights and everything else of the company. But so you hit the nail on the head with that.
Absolutely. So like, you know, that's the thing. And you know, Vince McMahon, we're going to close with this, but like we're just going to wrap it up saying that like, you know, there was a meeting also before SmackDown went on air, and it was like like trying to appease like the wrestlers, because a lot of them were already so like, our jobs are going to like, no, we're fearing for our job. This is going to be the way it was before. Why did I come back? So everybody was like, no, he's just back for like, you know, the company selling, although that could be also like a potential thing that like for wrestlers to be afraid of. So we'll see.
William Regal's like, so Tony Khan, I don't want to work with my son anymore. You know, can you take me back?
Like, exactly, because like as of like January 4th,
no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, everybody. He didn't say that. He didn't. No,
but like, you know, but like exactly. So like, you know, that could be something that a lot of people could feel. You know, they felt that they were safe. Not anymore because Vinnie Mac is back. You know, another one that could be coming back, or like it feels very safe because she's making a shit ton of money, and that's Mandy Rose. There were reports that like she made $1 million after leaving the WWE, after, you know, her firing. Most people will say unfair, fair. You know, you can put like, you know, whatever line you want to, but the girl doesn't even seem to need the WWE because of the private like websites that she's on, or the private things that she does. She's doing absolutely fine.
This is what I'm going to say about Mandy Rose. I respect the hustle, because if people are willing to pay, why wouldn't you? If somebody was willing to pay me to do that, I would. Shit, you know, I'll be floating around in a swimming pool with no shirt on. Hey, I can do that, no problem. And you know, but no, all jokes aside, if it was up to her, she would still be wrestling. I think she liked it. I think she loved doing it. You know, I don't know if she was a fan growing up. I can't say she was or she wasn't. I won't throw those stones or anything like that. But I think she enjoyed doing it. And if it was up to her, she would keep doing both. But you can't say, oh, well, she should have just stopped doing that. Look at all the money she makes. Exactly. And the one thing, too, being on TV, it gets more eyes on her. People Google her. They go to her Instagram. Oh, she has a link to here. What's this? Oh, you know, fan time or whatever it's called. Boom, here we go. Okay. You know, it was the WWE was a great platform for her to do that. And I don't think that was her intention. She was on Tough Enough how many years ago? I don't think at that time she goes, oh, I'm going to make $1 million in December of 2022. Absolutely. No, that wasn't her intention. But that just so happened that's how the world turned out. OnlyFans and all that stuff exploded onto the scene. And, you know, people have been going crazy making money with that. So everybody's jumping on that train. She did as well. And that train is moving on the track very well.
And let's remember, Paul, a few years ago, an adult company, offered Mandy Rose the same amount of money for doing a movie, you know, like a porn movie, you know, or porn video, whatever. Like, and she rejected it. So there you go. So the girl is not on, like you said. And also, let's bring this point up. Why would you want to leave during your best run? Toxic attraction, you know, being like the NXT Women's Champion for such a long time. Why would you, if you're Mandy Rose, why would you like to leave the WWE? I feel that like if she had lost her spot in the company, or she has lost the spot on NXT, she was straight from the title. Well, then, or like she coming back to the main roster didn't work. Then you will feel and you will turn on your eyes and be like, hey, it's time.
And let's call a spade here, because
the Ace of Spades.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't a controversy like Paige, where Paige had the videos where there was sexual, we're just going to call it how it is, there was sexual intercourse taking place in the videos of Paige.
Xavier right there, my friend.
And the stuff with Mandy Rose, there wasn't. There is videos with her, which we can almost all but confirm her husband standing behind her in the shower.
Yeah.
But that's, it wasn't a video. There wasn't, where we see what's the intercourse. It's whatever. So Paige's whole thing, to me, that I could go, okay, maybe that, you fire him or you let him go, this and that. For Mandy Rose, it's not as bad. So, and also that goes to her going, well, maybe I don't want to do that stuff on video, as in, like you said, when the adult website or movie or whatever, they offered her, hey, a couple years ago, do this movie. She turned that down. And that was probably a smart thing to do, because I'm sure she's making way more money now. It's mostly all going to her. Besides, she has to pay some to the website, I'm sure, for hosting her stuff.
There's probably, like some fees that she has to pay. But, overall, she probably makes,
and she can do it from the comfort of her home and, right there with her husband or boyfriend, fiance, whatever he is. But, I mean, hey, more power to Mandy Rose, whether she comes back or goes to AEW with, Monet or whatever her name is now and everything else. I mean, it's going to be exciting to see, just for the wrestling buzz and the news of it.
Absolutely. And see, like you said, like we're going to congratulate the girl because she's doing fine and she doesn't need WWE. We all knew this from years ago. She doesn't need the company. The company needed her. They felt that it was a way that they could rid of her. Well, there you go. It seems like it's going to be their loss, because you said the amount of eyes that she brought to NXT was probably the only reason that a lot of people kept watching NXT. Freddie Prinze Jr. said in an interview that is unwatchable trash, NXT right now. So there you go. That tells you a guy that was inside the WWE wrote
I don't hold his opinion to too high regard. To a high regard. But hey, everybody opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one.
Exactly. So yeah, exactly. So I like that phrase. So let's move on, Paul, really quick to what happened in Smackdown, because it was actually a pretty decent show. We got confirmation of what's going to happen with the title at the Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn, the story keeps getting better and better. You see that Roman is starting to show jealousy, or he feels that Sami is trying to take his spot, and he's trying to be the tribal chief. So Paul, you like that, right? So you want to be the tribal chief? You see Roman.
Yeah, this was good. I mean, he pretty much, he starts the promo, everything is good. And he's like, Sami, last week, when you lost, and Sami's trying to apologize and everything, but he's like, why did you call your shot? He's like, I do that. I'm the one who calls my shot. I guarantee. And every time I do, I always win. But you did it last week and you didn't. Why are you trying to do that? That makes all of us look like shit. What's your deal? And then he exploded. Yeah, what are you trying to be, the tribal chief? And he was screaming at him. And this was great. But then, you think he's going to beat up Sami Zayn, and then Kevin Owens' music hits. And I thought Kevin Owens was going to storm the ring and make the big save. I didn't know how they were going to play it. But no, Kevin slowly walks out. So they all kind of stop paying attention to Sami. Look at Kevin. And he pretty much, long or the short of it, challenges him to a match at Royal Rumble, because he said, you're not mad at Sami, you're mad at me. I've been getting under your skin and everything. And I love Roman's rebuttal. He's like, sure, whatever. I don't care. It's the best thing, because his main thing was Sami Zayn. He's pissed off at that. He wants to get that out of his system. And Kevin Owens just shows up dude, whatever. I'm going to kick your ass in January. The only danger I have is when Cody wins the Royal Rumble. So I don't care. Get out of my face. It was the best, screw you, Kevin Owens. And hey, that's the story of Kevin Owens when it comes to the main event title pictures. Everything feels like an afterthought. Maybe that's why he might win it. We don't know. I don't think he will, but we're going to see that match. And, Sami Zayn is off the hook right there. And, but is he going to get beat up? Is he going to get kicked out of the bloodline? We're going to talk about how the progressed here in a little bit. But what did you think of all this and everything with Kevin Owens?
I'm like you said, well, if you think about it, 2 years ago, we saw the same match at the same pay-per-view.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Title. It's so I mean, that tells you a little bit for me. It's there's not a lot of creativity here. I mean, they have the guy, but whether the build-up is going to be better than what it was 2 years ago, we'll see. Kevin Owens, like you said, is always an afterthought, because is he really going to win it? There's been reports that the WWE has a plan to strip Roman from one of the titles. This match, as of now, is for both. So that is something that they might be able to change. And then if they do that, then Roman is more likely to use that title.
The only thing I will say that makes this match more interesting than the one, like you said, 2 years ago and everything else, is the Sami Zayn aspect.
Yes.
Because then Roman Reigns later in the show, I just kind of mentioned this stuff with the bloodline right now. At least I want to mention it just because
Yes,
it all connects. Is just Roman is sitting down with Sammy, and Sammy's like, Roman, listen, I'm sorry. Again, apologizing, ooh, yee. No, but he's apologizing for everything. And Roman goes, no, Sammy, I should apologize. I am pissed off at Kevin. I shouldn't, blew up like that, and they pretty much kind of water under the bridge, bury the hatchet, that, hey, we're all good here. But next week, you're going to have a match with Kevin Owens. So, okay, so now this is kind of, he's testing his loyalty. But of course, Sami Zayn, yes, my tribal chief, blah, 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 he's good with it, everything. And, that's going to be something, that really, I think, makes this feud different and more interesting, because a lot of people, they want to see Sami Zayn. Maybe I know some people want to see him win it. I at least want to see him challenge for it. But a lot of people want to see Sami Zayn challenge, if not win, one of the belts from Roman. So, but I think Kevin Owens is the first step in getting there. And
again, if you play like the whole, like a long-term story, there you go. The first step will be Kevin Owens, because then it's like, he was my best friend. We've been doing this for such a long time, and then Sami could turn, maybe, so that's how they can play it out. Like you said, this is I feel that is interesting. At least I like it for what it's going, especially because Sami is doing the whole thing, and this has been months now. It was supposed to last 2 weeks, and now it's just months. That's how much people are loving this Sami Zayn news.
And he's selling that honorary Oos t-shirt. That shirt's selling like crazy, and it pretty much had set up the main event. And we'll talk about little bits and pieces that were also on SmackDown. But then it set up the main event. The Drew McIntyre and Sheamus against the Usos, their 500 someday title reign. And that's in the picture. You saw Roman and Sami. They were watching, celebrating. A really good match. Lots of near falls. Drew and Sheamus are no slouches, even though the two of them together in the team, I feel it almost brings the two of them down. Even though,
especially if they don't win.
Yeah, because they're both, and not saying, the two of them, because they're main event singles guys, that they should be able to beat the tag team. No, I'm not saying that, because the Usos are legit, or at least they should be. Look at their title reign and their pedigree and everything. But, it's just these guys, they should be credible challengers for, like you said, one of the championships when it's split off from Roman, hopefully sooner rather than later. They would be a credible champion or challenger, or to go after Gunther or Walter, to go after him, but instead they're a tag team that just loses. It just feels like such a waste for these guys. But I know we saw them kind of involved with Walter and everything else, recently. So maybe you don't want to keep beating that, dead horse and that creative over and over. But I didn't care for that. But seeing Sami Zayn, banging a bucket of popcorn and throwing it up in the air, that was great. Yeah, so this was good. And like I said, a great match. The Usos, of course, they cheat to win, using the ropes, to hold his brother down while he gets the pin on Sheamus. So, that was the main story of everything that happened at SmackDown. We saw Emma wrestle. Was it Emma who? Yeah, Emma wrestled again.
We saw Emma and Madcap Moss going against Scarlett and Karrion Kross. So we saw that also. We're going to say hi to Love Nipka. Harrison, how are you, buddy? He said, how was it? This show was pretty interesting. There's little things that we've seen that is getting better, like you said. And like you said, we mentioned, we saw this mixed tag match, and in the end, when Karrion Kross chokes Madcap, Scarlett is back in the ring. So that's something that we didn't see in the NXT days. That makes changes. One thing is, I don't know how you can benefit from a feud with Rey Mysterio. And the only reason I say that is because we love Rey. But Rey is also more involved with Dominic. But Karrion Kross, for some reason, is going to start feuding with Rey. He has the TikTok thing. He has a card. And then they put a mask over of Madcap Moss. And then you can see right there, there's a feud going on. I don't know if I like this because, again, Karrion should be main event status. I don't know why he doesn't have the opportunity with Roman. That will generate a lot of expectation for me.
Yeah, this to me doesn't really make too much sense because, like you said, Rey is feuding with Dominic, even though they're on Monday Night Raw and doing all that stuff. So maybe not. Maybe that was just for the holidays. But, this might be interesting. This might be good. Rey is really good with working with guys that are bigger than him. He knows how to sell for them. And if they know how to sell for him. It really makes a great match. So this might be good, and we got to wait and see how it is. Maybe and if we get to see Scarlett on TV more, that's never a bad thing either. But,
never bad for the eye Jean Paul mentions.
But I mean, then another thing too, which I like when they do this. We had a qualifying match for the Royal Rumble. Ricochet beat what's his name? Top Dollar. He beat him. Top Flyer.
50 cents or 25 because it's not Top Dollar. That guy absolutely sucks.
He beat him in like 2 minutes, and then after the match, they go to show him respect. But then they beat up Ricochet, and then Braun Strowman makes the save. So we see Braun Strowman and them are still a tag team, but see them as a tag team, I like that more than like Drew and Sheamus, because at least they're guys that aren't, they're not like main eventers or not. Braun was, but he doesn't feel like it, and it's something different to do with these guys because you have the big man, little man aspect. But
absolutely, and Paul, like going back, let me to freeze on those. Let's go. Like Harrison is telling us, 3 generations deep, I find it hard to believe that the company will be sold. He's talking about what we saw about Vince McMahon and everything. I feel that like it is. If there's a time, it has to be now, because Vince is gonna be, he's out, quote unquote, was out. He's coming back just to sell it. Stephanie is the only one that wants to be part of it because Shane doesn't want to have anything to do with the WWE. The way that like he left, it was actually bad. Remember, he was trying to switch all the Royal Rumble lineup. He wanted to make himself look good. Vince is like, no, get out. You're never going to be part of this anymore. So at some point, it's like the Undertaker streak. If you wanted to like end it, there was a time you had to do it.
And also with this, with Vince, if he thought this is my company, it is my family's company, even though Triple H is family, like it's not a McMahon, it's Stephanie, but she's not the head person in charge anymore. Like, because before it used to be Vince's dad was Vince, it's not like, and I think Vince's grandfather was even involved or something too before, it's one of those things where, there was always a McMahon was in charge, the top of the heap, and not really anymore. The stuff is shared. Stephanie shares the same duties as Nick Khan, so they're equal. Nobody, again, no McMahon is really in charge, and Vince maybe thinks if that's how it's going to be and that's how it is, and if I'm too old and I got kicked out or whatever the reason may be,
and if there's a good money offer,
and if that's not going to be the thing, this, like you said, it's the perfect time, and if people are willing to give the money. I think if Shane was right there and Shane was exactly a clone of Vince McMahon, just younger, and he had the same admirations, I'm going to take over the world with WWE and everything, then I don't think they'd be selling. I don't think that would be any thought.
I think the same.
But I think because it's like
there's
he's not there.
There's always this story, Paul, the jealousy between Shane and Triple H. So there you go. I mean, that's the crack right there that like is not letting, for example, Shane to be, maybe he wants to be the one that leads the WWE, but like because Triple H is there, they don't get along. There's always been that little jealousy. The Stephanie thing with like, it's my sister, blah, blah, blah. So there you go. That could be a reason, and that's why he's not part of it. And maybe that's why Vince is like, you know what, I'm going to sell it. The opportunity is right there. So, going back to, like you said, Paul, I'm going to just bring you back to Ricochet. I'm not a big fan of like the qualifying matches just because it's like, why some guys have to qualify when others don't have to? So that's the only thing.
I like it because you almost think like, okay, somebody who's like a legit, like, okay, you're a legit main eventer, like a Seth Rollins. Okay, even though he's injured or like whatever, all I can think of is injured guys like AJ Styles, but like top guys like that, you kind of go, okay, you're in. Because people want to see you in a Royal Rumble outside of kayfabe, and 2, in the world of kayfabe, you're a top guy, you held titles, you're legit, blah, blah, blah. Guys that are maybe in the mid-card, undercard, whatever, I could see them having to qualify because, you're kind of shitty. You don't really do too much around here. You got to earn your shot to get in. You haven't really earned it yet. Like, if Top Dollar showed up, we would say, oh, that's a wasted spot. Nobody wants to see that fat whale. But Ricochet gets in. You go, okay, Ricochet, Ricochet might do a little something. So
I get it. So like you said, he won, he advanced. That's cool. I mean, their feud continues because they always attack him because they offer a shake hand. But like, Hit Row to me is absolutely dead. Out of all the people that came back, all that group should have never came back.
Yeah,
I don't know what
Triple H was thinking about. But I know he wanted, and then we'll move on. Or even if you have anything else to mention from SmackDown. But the one thing is just, I think Triple H wanted Swerve with the group as well. That was when talks for Swerve was maybe thinking about coming back as well, or somehow. But Swerve, that's like the missing piece. That, without,
they need the main guy. They need a leader. They need, for example, like you mentioned, like this, Santos Escobar be the Kofi Kingston. I guess they're in a feud with the New Day right now. I mean, Legado del Fantasma, they need to make these guys look even better because they were very interesting on NXT. They were like almost, main event level, but this is the time that you can do that with these guys. They have the talent. Santos Escobar is a great leader. He's a great wrestler. So there you go. A good feud with the New Day can do wonders for these guys, Paul. So tell me a little bit about, we saw the Queen. Remember last week when we did this SmackDown review, she came back. She won the SmackDown Women's Championship. Like here we saw like another thing from Charlotte. She beat Sonya Deville. Who cares, Then we go back to like, it's boring one more time.
The one thing I liked is the crowd loved Charlotte. And when Sonya came and Charlotte cut a good promo. I thought the promo was good. Look it up on YouTube, how she says she's never been hurt this long and everything. And the fans, when they welcomed her back, it really meant a lot and everything. But Sonya and Sonya's a great promo as well. She came out, she cut a good promo, but they were calling her a bitch. And Charlotte's like, oh, I think, they were calling her like a cheap ass bitch or something like that. And Charlotte goes, oh, they think you're a trick or something like that, she said. And she's just wooed her. And I mean, Charlotte was great here. The crowd was great. And I mean, obviously, she's going to beat, Sonya Deville. I mean, come on. Really? Come on. But I mean, this was a thing where it was, she said, oh, you beat a Ronda Rousey that was at less than 50% health because she just had this, tough match with Raquel. How about me? Obviously, Charlotte wins. And you got to wait and see. Is the winner of the Royal Rumble going to go after Charlotte? Are they going to maybe go after Bianca? We don't really know who's going to win. I haven't heard no clear-cut winner for the women's side. And all I can tell you is, and maybe you know one, and if you do, don't say it. At least don't say it right now because I love not knowing. We're so close to the Rumble, and I don't know really who's
I will not
win.
say it. I will not. I promise you. I will not mention anything. I haven't heard anything, though, for everybody that is watching. I have not heard who the clear cut. A lot of people are just saying, they won. Different is going to be. Say two different things. They won Liv Morgan to win the Royal Rumble. I mean, she won the money.
I'll tell you, there will be certain people at home and in the arena that will cheer for that, but there will be just as many, if not more, that will boo for that because her time as champion wasn't very good and what you're going to do it again. Because she didn't get, and this isn't no shot at Liv, but Liv didn't really improve since losing the title. It's not like when you hear people go, oh, when I won the title, I was too young. I lost it, then I matured, and then when I got the title again, I was a legit champion. Liv didn't really mature or get any better. At least we're not seeing it on TV. To me, that would be that wouldn't be good. But I really don't know who. I mean, Bayley, but do you want a heel to win it? I mean, I don't know. We gotta wait.
I feel that like Bayley will be the like a good option just because out of all the horsewomen, Bayley's the one that hasn't won it. And we're gonna talk about Mercedes in a little bit, but so Bayley will make sense. But you will need, and a rivalry with Charlotte maybe on SmackDown will be something that we haven't seen in a few years. And they've done it so many times, but I will say maybe if you want a surprise, maybe do Io Shirai. But I mean, she's mixed in the tag team division. Do somebody that is you don't even think they're going to win. That will be, I would like that. Do somebody like maybe Raquel. Raquel could be a good winner. Maybe Rhea Ripley could be another one. Because Bianca already won it. So maybe one of those two, that could be something that, hey, can get one woman to the next level. Because Asuka already won it, so you don't really care for that. So I don't even know who else. If Alexa Bliss wins it, I would be like, nah, like her time has passed.
No, that's the same thing as Liv Morgan to me. But.
And and Paul, remember like with her because there's still like those teases with like the storyline with Bray Wyatt, but like the story with Wyatt is turning sour. Actually, this is even better. Because Alexa keeps playing those flashbacks, like, she gets all in this like weird like stages, and then she beat like the crap out of Bianca Belair, and like even Bianca's cousins were thinking of jumping her or something like that. So like, this is somewhere like you said, a person that hasn't won before, that might not be as popular, might be the best thing. If not, do Bayley, because Charlotte.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think. Like a Bayley or a Rhea Ripley would be really good. I think for just like, okay, that's somebody who hasn't won it. That would be good. But, we gotta wait and see. And that's what I kind of like. Cause some of the other years, I think they were a little obvious and kind of set up for who might win them.
Exactly. So like, I mean, our friend Harrison says always hope Wow or Shimmer will get the filler spots in the ladies rumble. Yeah, like like other companies, that would be, yeah, I would love to see, for example, like they did last year, women from like Impact, women like like those
Yeah,
dudes, like
Mickey
Mickey
James or somebody.
no,
Yeah,
like
that was
somebody like
cool.
that, get people that, hey, now that like there's a lot of there's more leeway. WWE is not like so close like when it was like the Forbidden Door has been open so many times. You watch, hopefully, you watch the match with Shinsuke Nakamura and the Great Muta. So that was, that was great, and we saw him. He got a win. That was like he did that for WWE. Carl Anderson was part of Wrestle Kingdom. That was another thing. So there you go. So like you see that like maybe they can work some little deals, be part of the Royal Rumble, make the event more interesting for everybody. So Paul, talk about, you said we're talking about now outside WWE stuff. Wrestle Kingdom, Mercedes debuted it. What are your thoughts about it? Because I mean, it's cool, but like she botched the the thing that she wanted to do.
Yeah,
with,
Botch
like,
Banks or whatever they call Sasha, but no, Mercedes Monet or whatever her new name is now.
Frankie Monet. No,
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, she has the look. I mean, the hair. It looks almost like she burnt it, but I mean, it kind of has the cool look. Whatever it is, she always stands out. I feel like she always turns heads, and it's a who is she? She has that charisma. And on the mic, maybe the promo, the audience, they didn't react, but that's how the Japanese audience is. They're gonna sit there and they're gonna be quiet because they want to listen, they want to hear what's going on. I don't know if they understand English, most of them, or some of them, whatever, but they were watching this, but it was dead silent, and that made it feel kind of awkward with the botch move and everything. I hope the match is good. Kairi Sane, I think, is good. Sasha Banks can have really good matches with some people, and other times in those really good matches, she botches stuff sometimes, and it might not even be her. Maybe it's a language barrier, but you think Kairi should know some English with being for WWE so long. I would assume so. And it was also being an ambassador, when she was with WWE for a little while. So I'm sure they can communicate. I don't think that's an issue or anything. But maybe,
the only thing was she delivered the move, like I said, Carrie landed on her.
Maybe she thought she was doing one thing and she was doing another, or Kyrie didn't know how to take it or something. But yeah, I mean, that spot didn't come over too well. But like you said, Wrestle Kingdom, I feel, was newsworthy. You had FTR, they dropped their belts. That whole, raises the eyebrows. FTR coming back to WWE because they're dropping all their belts.
Again, exactly. That's the main point.
We saw FTR backstage with Bayley and Mercedes and Naomi and everything. So, Bayley and Naomi, they also showed them in the crowd. There was a shot of them. So, I mean, it was really cool. And, Carl Anderson, obviously, he was a WWE guy. He was there. He dropped his belt, which we all assumed he was going to. And,
Tamatonga for, like, the people that want to know about.
Really cool stuff. Triple H allows these guys. We touched on the Nakamura, Great Muta for Noah. Really cool stuff that they allow to do this. And it brings eyes to everybody's product. Exactly. You're going to have people from Noah, whether it's one person or 1,000 people. Whether they go from Noah to watching WWE now because they saw Nakamura, oh, he's from WWE, oh, let me start watching them. It don't matter if you're bringing some people over, you're helping wrestling grow, and if wrestling grows,
and that's what you should do. You gotta help each other out to make, like you said, the product be known for everybody. I have a lot of collection data for Wrestle Kingdom. The assistance was 26,000 people. The limited assistance because of COVID, but then 92,000 were like people watching all over the world at the live that they were watching, and it was a complete success. 30% of those people were actually watching outside of Japan, because they did have, of course, the English translation.
I would say that's actually, I mean, if you think that's, that's not even, that's a little over 100,000 for watching online. So that's really not that many, if you want to be honest, thinking about it, but. So,
well, for what I mean, for what they do, like maybe also outside of the States. I don't know. Like, I think that the biggest one that they had was when Kenny Omega was fighting Jericho. This wasn't the case. Kenny Omega fighted Will Ospreay. The match was absolutely great. Kenny Omega can deliver still great matches. But like you said, for what they could do right now, I mean, is like a step forward. Maybe we'll see what happens in the next Wrestle Kingdom. But like you said, for American fans, it's hard to watch live because it's like the pay-per-view starts at like 3 or 4 in the morning. Despite that, there were people that watched. So you saw also Jay White drop the belt on Kazuchika Okada. and Dave Meltzer gave this match, Kenny Omega becoming the new United States champion. Like you said, what, 7.5 or something like that, Paul?
No, 6.25.
6.25. There you go. Thank you. Like I forgot the number, but I mean, like you said, bringing the product to everybody's eyes, like sharing talent. That's how you should be, because in this these days that we live, we all know where everybody is. Social media lets us know where everybody is, what you do, but again, just sharing the talent and making sure that like the main people are benefit from is the fans. So I like that. And to close on Mercedes, this is going to be in the United States, the Battle in the Valley. So most likely she will win the title here, and then I don't know what she's going to do from now, because she's not signed on AEW. There's no indication that she's signed. There was a little tease that like it was going to be Saraya's or Paige's like partner in a match against Dr. Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, but then she ended up choosing Toni Storm. So there was a report that like she does not want to sign with a company long term. She just wants to do like appearances. She has a music album coming out. So there you go. I mean, life is good for Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné now that she's finally a free agent from the WWE.
Yeah, and she can, she wants to do music. She wants to be in TV and movies. She wants to wrestle, wants to do whatever. If she's her own boss, no pun intended, she can do what she wants. And maybe she don't want to sign a contract with somebody that says, oh, well, you can't wrestle for this other company, and you can't do movies, and you can't do this. Not that Tony Khan is as controlling as a Vince or somebody, but maybe she don't want to sign that deal. She just wants to sign, I'll wrestle for you this day, and that day, and then that's it. We're good.
I'm good. Absolutely. So, good stuff on that. And Paul, like just to close, we're going to go turn our eyes on like AEW just for a little bit, because like there was an announcement, like the main event of like AEW Revolution is most likely going to be Bryan Danielson going against MJF in a 60-minute Iron Man match. This is going to be cool. And the main thing is like, I like the thing that they have with each other, like the war of words, the promo, because then Bryan Danielson said, I'm going to expose you, because it's like, it's not that like you don't want to wrestle just because, it's like, you don't want to wrestle every week because you just suck. You're not good enough to keep doing that. It's like, you always like avoid to wrestle because you're not good enough. So I'm going to expose you. I'm going to like show like to the world that like you suck, and I'm going to beat you, and I'm going to really beat you, and I'm going to take the AEW championship for me. So like, this is cool. And this is going to be an interesting main event. Hopefully that, I don't know if he's going to lose it though, because MJF probably deserves a long run.
No, I think this is going to be one of the really good feuds, because we didn't get to see like CM Punk dropping the belt to an MJF. We never got to see that. That would have been a really big, okay, MJF, he got a really big win. Even though he didn't defend the belt, that's how he won it. It would have been a really big win. It was like, this, I think, is going to be that first really big win, that first really big title defense against the Bryan Danielson. He gave Hangman Adam Page one of his best matches. Well, I think they had two matches.
Yes.
To get two of the best matches. He had that great match with Omega that went to a time limit. Everybody that he steps in the ring with, he has amazing matches. So I think this is going to be good, and I think MJF, whether he cheats to win in the end, whether he holds the tights, uses the ring, or whether he wins clean right in the middle of the ring and shows, I can do it. Screw all you guys. I didn't have to cheat nothing. I can win on my own. We got to wait and see. But this is good. That's the thing that I don't want to say annoys me. I can't even define the word, but that's the thing about AEW that I guess is frustrating. That's the word.
Frustration is a good word.
Because you see certain segments and there's certain people and certain things. We're just going to talk about one more match, one more segment here, and then we'll get out of here. But there's certain things that you just go, whether the people involved are good or whether just the segment was good, whatever, you're like, this is good, I like this. And then there's just everything else around it that follows it, that comes before it.
Everything else is trash.
Or just the creative of those two good people, it's just awful. And it just ruins it, and then it takes everything that's good and it brings it down. And you have a guy who I really like in Darby Allin, who he's the underdog of underdogs. He's great. He has the charisma. And Samoa Joe's been on a roll. He cut Wardlow's hair. He's Mr. Television. He had both TV belts, Ring of Honor and AEW. He has this match with Darby Allin, and you think, okay, it's going to be good, man. Joe's going to sell for Darby. But in the end, it's going to be a muscle buster and done, because he's going to hit him, and Darby can crunch for that thing because he's a little guy. It's going to look like he snapped his spine and his neck, and Darby's going to sell it amazing. But no, you have the two coffin drops, and that's it. And Darby is over, and it's great, but it's just Joe was on such a roll, and the size difference between these two guys. Again, both guys involved. I love them; they're great, but it's the head scratching creative and just other stuff on this show that just makes you go, man, AEW has it. They could have it, but they just don't. But they just don't.
And I feel the same way. I'm not just because you're my co-host here, but like I just it bothered me because Samoa Joe is way better, and the difference in size. And I'm sorry, like how am I supposed to believe that Samoa Joe is not gonna kick that out of a coffin drop? When I saw that, I'm like, oh, there's no way that like he's not gonna kick that. 1, 2, 3, great. And of course, the Sting comes out, kills it for me. Like you said. Then what was the selling point of like the last Ring of Honor paper? Samoa Joe winning both belts. Now you completely crashed.
Well, I would say that the main thing people bought the last Ring of Honor pay-per-view for was FTR and the Briscoes.
The Briscoes, yes. But like, what was the last image that you saw from that? Samoa Joe with like both belts. That's what you were happy about. And now one more time, Darby Allin. What is he gonna do with the title though? Miro is gonna come back again. That's the thing. Like you said, AEW has
the only thing I like Darby is one of the homegrown guys. So now the one thing that's kind of cool, MJF and Darby Allin, maybe they didn't start their careers in AEW, but they got the national exposure and they were still really young in their career. So I count them as homegrown for AEW, and now they're both champs and the Acclaimed tag champs. So that's really cool if you think about it from that aspect. It's not it's not like we have all the. It's not like we have all the WWE has-beens as our champs. Like, oh, here's Jericho and here's, FTR. And even though FTRs, I love them. They're great. But you know what I'm saying? It's not like you have everybody else's created talent. No, these are our guys. They're the champs. And people love them because they're all over. Whether we like MJF, whether we like Darby winning the belt, he's over. The Acclaim's over. MJF's over. So again, AEW has this stuff, man. They just got to get on track. Tony Khan, I don't know what he's got to do. But he's got to do something. He's got to do a lot of it. Maybe getting rid of Jericho and the Bucks is something. But hey, that's a discussion for another day and everything. So
absolutely. So family, thank you very much for being with us. We appreciate you. We love you. We'll be back with more professional wrestling news, all of it. Royal Rumble, Raw, SmackDown, and every single thing newsworthy. So please don't forget to subscribe to all the social media right there. Even like I color them up, so all of you cannot miss them because we got that. Oh, we cannot see it. We don't know what it is. Oh yeah, now you can. So please, do that. Where are they, Paul?
And that's a Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, original Rope Break on Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok, and of course right here on YouTube, the home of the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the original Rope Break.
And you and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is...